Okay, so welcome to the deep dive. And today we are diving into a pretty contentious topic.
Oh, yeah.
It's a big one. We're asking the question, will AI replace teachers?
Huh?
And to help us unpack this, we've got a really fascinating resource.
Oh, absolutely.
It's the transcript from a podcast called Tech Clash, and they had a really intense debate.
I love Tech Clash.
Yeah, me too. And they had an AI education developer go head-to-head with a veteran teacher.
A classic showdown.
And so our mission today is to kind of go through their main arguments.
Yeah.
Figure out where they clash.
You see if there's any common ground.
Yeah, exactly. And just figure out what this all means for the future of learning.
Absolutely. Like, how will we be learning in 10 years?
Yeah.
Will we all have robot teachers? Like, I don't know. I can't predict the future.
Right.
But this Tech Clash debate really digs into some fundamental questions.
Yeah.
About what education's all about, who teachers are,
Yeah.
and just where our learning systems might be going.
Right. So let's jump right into it. I think the main point of tension here is that you have these two totally different perspectives on the future of education. And one side is the AI advocate, and they're really excited about the possibilities of AI.
Right.
You know, they think it can be more efficient, you can personalize learning,
Yeah.
and you can save money.
Yeah, efficiency, personalization, cost savings. These are all huge selling points for them.
Right, exactly. They see AI as a natural progression, like the next step.
A positive evolution, they might say.
Exactly.
Whereas you have the experienced teacher on the other side who is really emphasizing the crucial human elements in teaching. You know, it's not just about transferring data.
Yeah.
It's about those connections, the relationships that teachers build with their students,
Yeah.
the motivation they provide, and really the potential for a lot of job displacement.
Yeah. So we're going to be exploring those arguments in detail today. And we're going to be listening for those clashes.
Yes.
But also any areas of surprising agreement.
Yeah, because you never know. They might find some common ground somewhere in there.
Exactly. And we'll see if these two viewpoints can coexist.
Right.
So to start, I thought it'd be helpful to look at the opening arguments of the debaters.
Okay, so what did they lead with? What were the most important points they wanted to make right away?
Okay. So the AI developer, they really emphasized efficiency from the start.
Okay.
And they actually gave the example of AI tutors like ChatGPT.
Oh, yeah. Everyone's talking about ChatGPT.
Right. And how they can give students instant explanations, even for really complex topics like calculus.
Right.
And their point was that this is something that even the best teacher can't always provide when they've got a whole classroom of students with different needs.
It's that one-on-one attention thing.
Exactly.
It's really hard to tailor everything to every individual.
Right. And so AI can kind of step in and scale that up.
Yeah, scalability is a big deal for them, I bet.
Yeah, they use that word a lot. Like AI can reach way more students.
Okay.
And personalize the learning in a way that just isn't possible for one person to do with a big class.
Okay, so that's their efficiency argument.
Yeah.
What else?
Well, then they go right into the economic argument.
Yes, the money.
Right. They say AI can save schools a lot of money.
Which a lot of schools could probably use right now.
Yeah, exactly.
So how does that work?
Well, their argument is, why hire a bunch of teachers when one AI can teach hundreds or even thousands of students?
I see. So the idea is AI could basically replace teachers to cut costs.
That seems to be their suggestion.
Okay, so that brings us to the veteran teacher, right?
Yes.
I bet they had some thoughts on this.
Yeah. And so their counter argument is essentially that teaching is way more than just giving information.
Right.
It's about that human connection, the relationships that teachers build with their students.
Yeah.
And you just can't get that from a machine.
I mean, have you ever tried to have heart-to-heart with your phone?
Yeah. Doesn't really work.
Not really.
Right. And so the teacher's point was that if a student is struggling, especially emotionally, they're not going to connect with a chatbot the same way they connect with a caring teacher.
And that's so important.
Yeah. They really emphasize the importance of empathy in the classroom.
Yeah. You need someone who can understand what you're going through.
And they're also worried about AI perpetuating existing problems.
Oh, interesting. What do you mean by that?
Well, they brought up the example of facial recognition technology.
Okay.
And how it's been shown to be biased against certain groups.
Right, because it's trained on data that already has those biases.
Exactly. And so they're worried that if we're using AI to grade student work or to evaluate students, it could be reflecting those same biases.
That's scary.
And that would be a huge problem.
Yeah, because then we're just replicating existing inequalities.
Right. And then, of course, there's the issue of jobs.
Oh, yeah, the elephant in the room.
Right. The teacher points out that there are like 90 million teachers worldwide.
Wow, that's a lot of people.
And if AI takes over, that's a lot of potential job losses.
That's a massive shift in the workforce.
Right. And they question whether all those teachers can just easily upskill.
Yeah, like find new jobs in completely different fields.
Right. It's a really complex issue.
So we've got these two very different perspectives. One focused on efficiency and scalability, the other on human connection and potential risks.
Exactly. And that's where we start to see these clashes of ideas.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see if there's any common ground.
Me too. So one of the big clashes is around this idea of human connection.
Okay.
Because the AI advocate actually claims that AI can enhance connection.
Oh, really? How so?
Well, they argue that for students who are shy,
Oh, yeah.
or maybe intimidated by speaking up in class,
Yeah.
AI can provide a safe space to ask questions
Okay.
and to engage with the material.
I guess that makes sense. Like if you're not worried about judgment from a person,
Yeah.
you might be more willing to open up.
Right. And they also suggest that AI can free up teachers
Okay.
to spend more time mentoring students, providing that one-on-one guidance.
So the idea is that AI handles the more routine stuff,
Yeah,
and then the teacher has more time for those deeper interactions.
exactly.
Interesting. But what did the teacher think of that?
Well, the teacher wasn't convinced.
Okay.
And they brought up the experience of remote learning during the pandemic.
Oh, yeah, Zoom school.
Right, and how a lot of students really struggled with that.
Yeah.
They missed that in-person interaction.
Yeah, it's not the same as being in a classroom.
Exactly. And so they argued that face-to-face learning
Right.
is just essential for a lot of students.
So they're saying that no matter how sophisticated the AI is,
Yeah.
it can't replace the experience of learning with other people.
Right. And they also pointed out that AI just can't handle
Yeah.
the complexities of social emotional learning.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
Right, like recognizing when a student is being bullied
Yeah.
or inspiring creativity.
Right. Can you imagine an AI trying to teach art like Picasso?
Right, they really emphasize the importance of human teachers in those areas.
Yeah, because it's not just about the content, it's about the social and emotional skills.
Exactly. And to really test this idea,
Okay.
the Tech Clash host actually threw out some hypothetical situations.
I love these.
Like, what would an AI do if there was a disruption in the classroom?
Oh, yeah, like a fight breaks out or something.
Right, or if a student came in really upset about something.
Yeah, could an AI handle that?
Right, and these scenarios really highlighted how unpredictable and human the classroom environment can be.
So what was the response?
Well, the AI developers' response was to propose this idea of teachers becoming classroom managers.
Classroom managers. So what does that mean?
Basically, they would be overseeing the AI instruction,
Okay.
but not necessarily doing the direct teaching.
So the human element is still there,
Yeah.
but it's more of a supervisory role.
Exactly. And this actually led to a really interesting debate because the AI developer used an analogy to explain their vision.
Okay.
They compared AI in education to autopilot in aviation.
Okay. So they're saying that just like pilots can rely on autopilot, teachers can rely on AI.
Exactly. But the teacher pushed back hard on this analogy.
Okay.
They said, okay, but when autopilot fails, it's the human pilot who saves the day.
Right. They prevent the plane from crashing.
And so they were saying, who's going to save education if the AI fails?
Oh, wow.
They were implying that it would be the human teachers.
The very people being replaced.
Right. So it was a really powerful counterpoint.
Yeah, that's a great analogy.
Yeah.
And it really highlights the stakes here, right?
Yeah, like we're talking about the future of education. This isn't just some theoretical debate.
It's about
real people's lives and their futures.
Right. So with all these disagreements,
Yeah.
the Tech Clash host was like, okay, is there any room for compromise here?
Yeah, is there a middle ground somewhere?
And the veteran teacher, while still skeptical about AI taking over,
did say that maybe AI could be useful for certain tasks, like grading spelling tests.
Okay, so the more routine stuff, that doesn't require as much judgment.
Right. But they were adamant that any big decisions about a student's education should be made by humans.
Okay, so they're drawing a line in the sand there.
Exactly.
Makes sense. What about the AI developer? Do they have any thoughts on compromise?
Yeah. Well, they agreed that AI should mainly be a tool to support education.
Right, not necessarily replace it altogether.
Right. But they also gave a warning.
Oh.
They said that schools that don't adapt to technology
Yeah.
are going to be left behind.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, they're advocating for a hybrid approach.
Okay, so a mix of human and AI instruction.
Aha.
So that's maybe where the common ground is.
Maybe.
This idea of a hybrid future.
Right. But the question is, can these two approaches, robote and human soul, as they jokingly called them,
Right, I love it.
really coexist in a meaningful way?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, right?
Exactly.
Can we take advantage of what AI has to offer without losing those essential human elements of education?
Right. And to leave us with something to ponder.
Okay.
They ended with these one-liners that really capture their positions.
One-liners, huh?
Yeah. So the AI advocates was adapt or get left behind.
Adapt or get left behind. Wow, that's pretty stark.
Yeah.
It's like a challenge,
right.
Almost.
Like you got to embrace this technology or you're going to be obsolete.
It definitely puts the pressure on, doesn't it?
Yeah. And then the teachers was, if we let profit-driven tech companies control education, we'll get the future they want, not the one kids need.
Wow.
It's a pretty powerful statement.
Yeah, it's a huge concern, right?
Yeah, like who's really driving this push for AI?
And what are their motivations?
Exactly. So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
we've seen this tension between the potential benefits of AI.
Yeah, the efficiency, the personalization.
Yeah. Right, and the crucial role of human connection.
And the potential risks, like bias and job displacement.
Exactly. So it really comes down to our values, doesn't it?
Yeah. What do we value most in education?
Is it efficiency and scalability?
Or is it about developing well-rounded individuals in a human-centered environment?
And so for you, the listener, as AI keeps advancing, how do you see this balance playing out?
Yeah, what's the ideal mix of technology and human teaching?
What questions does this debate raise for you?
It's something we all need to be thinking about.
Because the future of learning is at stake.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive.
See you next time.
Bye.